Hello, everyone, and welcome in. My name is Addison Willman with Martin Supply, and this is the Operate Better podcast. Today, I'm joined by a wonderful member of our safety team. Ryan, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Oh, thank you, Addison. My name is Ryan Griffin. I'm out of Indiana. I'm relatively new to the Martin team, but I've been in environmental health and safety for over 20 years.
All right, and today we're going to talk a little bit about AEDs. Can you just really quickly go over what those are and what they do?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. AEDs stand for Automated External Defibrillator. So these are life-saving devices you can see all over the place. If somebody's having a sudden cardiac arrest, you can apply the pads and follow the instructions. They're very simple and hopefully save somebody's life.
Right. And, if you've been in a large facility, you've probably seen one of these somewhere hanging up on a wall. And can you really quickly go through with me the impact that these types of devices have when you have some sort of cardiac event?
Yeah, absolutely. At the end of the day, it's very important to have these, but to understand why you need these, sudden cardiac arrest happens all the time. There's over 350,000 cardiac arrests outside of the hospital a year, and that's major. There's only about 100,000 more in total. So the vast majority of cardiac arrests are happening outside of the hospital. And your number one defense against that is having a good CPR AED program. To tell you the impact about it, globally, cardiac arrest claims more lives than all of these things combined, like prostate cancer, influenza. We know about that one, pneumonia, auto accidents, HIV, firearms, and even house fires. All combined, cardiac arrest claims more lives, and we could do a lot better to save those.
Right. A lot of us have been impacted by these types of events, or we've at least seen these types of events or heard of them. I know there are a couple of big ones that you've mentioned to me before. Bronny James and Damar Hamlin, we saw on live television, right?
Yeah, that was scary, very scary. And it was only because that the quick, immediate response that these folks were able to survive and come back to playing professional sports and entertaining us. And what's important to understand is those two folks were both young, fit, and had no. Well, Barney had a pre-existing condition, but Damar, to my knowledge, did not. So when we're talking about our workforce and our aging workforce, right? We're not getting any younger. Somebody changing a simple light socket or wall socket could get a little jolt, and if it hits them the right way, they could be in sudden cardiac arrest. It can happen to anybody.
Right. And so, you sent me a list of 5 mistakes that you see often in customers' facilities. You go out to these people's facilities and you can kind of look around and audit and find things that maybe they aren't doing 100% correctly. What are the
Mhm.
top 5 mistakes that you see when you go out to customers' facilities?
Well, the number one I would say is just upkeep of the device. Some folks like to get these, and I can't tell you countless times I've walked into facilities and just did a brief inspection of the defibrillator, and it's batteries are expired or the pads are gone. They just haven't paid attention to it. So that's like having an empty fire extinguisher when you really really need it. So that's one of the first ones I would say. The next one would be training. We wouldn't have a fire extinguisher if we didn't know how to use it, right? So why have an AED on the wall if you haven't properly trained your people? And it's not expensive or difficult to get them familiar with how to do good chest compressions and just to attach a device to a victim and then follow the instructions. But let's try to get them trained a little bit so that they don't have that apprehension. It's going to be a scary time. I know I've actually done CPR in the past, and it's scary. But the training that I received prior to that was very instrumental in me having a successful outcome of that event. And to that point, the visibility and accessibility of AEDs is very important. Let me give you the rule of thumb. The American Heart Association and the Red Cross both believe that a 3-minute round trip is very important, unobstructed. So identify the victim, go get the defibrillator, and get back to the victim within 3 minutes unobstructed. So that's where you kind of want to have that. That's the rule of thumb. However, can you find it? I've shared some pictures with you where there might be a defibrillator on the wall, but it's obstructed, or it might be way over in the distance, but there's no signage to it to draw my eye to go find it. Not everybody that's in the facility or in the area is necessarily going to know the area. Think about it this way: even if you're out at the grocery store and you see a person in one aisle happen to fall down, and would you be able to find the defibrillator? There's been situations where there's only two people in a building. One of them knows the building, one of them doesn't. What's going to happen? So if the person that knows the building goes down with sudden cardiac arrest, can that other person possibly identify and easily see it? So making sure that they're visible, easily identifiable, and within reach is a very important thing. I'd say that'd be the third most important. And then employment of good quality CPR is the next thing. Compressions, compressions, compressions. You have got to give good quality compressions, at least 2 inches depth of compression on a victim. Okay. And so when I do training, I say if you don't feel a pop or something like that, you're probably not going deep enough. And don't be scared. It's just like an ankle sprain. I mean, we've all had bad ankle sprains, right, Austin? I'm sure you, or Addison, sorry, I'm sure you've had some bad ankle sprains in your time, but you walked into the office today, right? So don't be afraid, but give a good quality depth of compression, because when this person, this victim is in sudden cardiac arrest, you have to become their heartbeat. So, you know, when we're talking about an AED program, upkeep of the device, training on the device is important. Being able to find it and being unobstructed, right? And then the most important thing that you possibly can do is just give good quality depth of compressions, 100 beats per minute on the person's sternum right above their heart. Okay. And that's the most important thing you can do to be a good Samaritan. Here's something also important to understand. This is a common understood fact that for every minute that you go without good quality CPR when you're in sudden cardiac arrest, okay, for every minute that goes by without good quality CPR, your chance of survival diminishes by 10%. Okay. So even in that 3-minute round trip, you've reached 70% survival potential. Okay. Now, I like for folks to understand that I believe the gold standard for fire EMS arrival is 7 minutes. You call 911, they dispatch, and they're at your front door within 7 minutes. That only leaves us 3 or 30% success rate. And we're not even talking about the time it takes from those first responders to get out of the vehicle, through the facility, hopefully guided by emergency response internal folks, and to the victim. Okay. So the most important thing is to apply good quality CPR right away, and then to possibly have a defibrillator, which brings me to the number one problem of all defibrillator programs: not having a defibrillator. Okay. You really should have one. People ask me all the time, Addison, they say, well, how many people at my facility should I have to where I should be required to have a defibrillator? By the way, all states are pretty similar, but the Good Samaritan law is going to protect you, and they have some nuances. But the most important thing here is, how many people should I have? And I say the answer is 2. One to try to die, one to try to stop. That's what it takes to have a defibrillator program. So, or that's what you should need. So it's very passionate for me. I've actually given CPR in a successful fashion one time. And I'll tell you, I wish I had the training and a defibrillator nearby. One time before, my father-in-law, God rest his soul, was having sudden cardiac arrest. I was too young, didn't know. I wish I had the training and a defibrillator. Might still be here today.
Right. I hate to hear that, but I mean, I think that's a very good example of why, you know, what we're talking about today is so important. Now, I don't think I have any more questions for you. If you have any last words you want to give out, you want to tell people how to contact you, and what kind of services that you can offer, and you know, how people can find you.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I'm one of the safety team specialists here at Martin. We're Safety Team 6. You can reach out to any of your Martin folks. We can get it to you. We do have the ability to help provide you with proper training and defibrillators on your site. And even if you hesitate, please don't hesitate. If somebody goes down with sudden cardiac arrest, push hard, push fast, call 911.
All right, words of wisdom. Thank you very much for joining me today, Ryan. And thank you all for watching all the way to the end. If you did, be sure to follow us over on our socials. And if you're on YouTube, subscribe to us here on YouTube. And with that, I'll say thank you very much and have a great day.
Yeah, thank you so much.